off? 7:06. I'd like to call this December 10th meeting of the Northfield Township Board to order. Please stand for the invocation and pledge.
Dear God, as we fast approach the yearly celebration of the miracle of Jesus, may we welcome an inspired introspection into that mystery which breathes life into all living things. And dear God, may you add unto us an ever-expanding foundation of gratitude. Amen.
Please call the roll, Clerk Manley.
Bellinger.
Here.
Chick. Here. Otto. Here. Bellinger. Sorry.
Here
Are you
again.
still here? Okay. Zelenak. Present. Manley here. Shockley.
Here.
And Dockett is absent with notice.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we have an opportunity for call to the public. So any member of the public who would like to speak to us at this time, feel free to come up, turn on the microphone, hold it up to your mouth, so take it out, hold it up so everyone can hear you. And please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Name and address, please. Anyone want to speak at this time? Thank you. Oh, turn it on, Faith. Okay.
Not really.
No.
Nope. Nope.
Try again.
Now?
Yes.
There. Okay. Faith Wheeler, 371 Grove Street, Whitmore Lake, Michigan. And I'm here concerning the Horseshoe Lake preservation property that you're looking into. And my first concern was when I read what initially has been proposed. On the first page at the bottom, you've got a little comment in there that says for public use. And I guess I want some interpretation from you what you're meaning to say when you say for public use. Because that property is property that is deeded to Horseshoe Lake. It's gone back for taxes because it's been underwater forever and ever, long before probably all of us were born. And we use it as a floodplain, basically. And if anybody buys it thinking they're going to build a house there, well, they should have been known better, okay? So you and the township and Washtenaw County own a lot of the property. We, many years ago, started buying up some, and then we saw that you guys were buying up some, and I came up myself personally and asked, well, why are you so interested in buying up these lots? What is your intention with them? Oh, nothing. I said, are you sure? Because my little brain started saying, you want to do something with this land, and I know about the park that you're trying to put in back on Walnut and Whitmore Lake, and there's an adjacency there, and I started putting two and two together and thinking that you were going to use it for some kind of a park. And I did ask some questions as to, okay, I don't see anybody tromping through with mud boots up to here, but I do see the possibility of you putting in bridges and things like that to look at waterfall and things of that sort. I want to know when you say for public use what you mean, because those lots, and they are registered out as lots, have right in it no businesses, and it cannot be used for commercial, okay? And it is strictly duty, it's not for, I don't want to see you at some point say I'm making it a park, and 50 years from now, somebody has a change of mind and some great invention comes up and you decide that you can build condos there, okay, and then you change your rules and they take that property. Will the property be deeded so that it is restricted and cannot be changed at a future date? That's what I want to know.
Thank you. I'll address that at the board member response to call to the public. Anyone else like to come up and share anything?
Hi, I'm Dana Forrester, 9255 Lakewood Drive, Whitmore Lake. I just got a couple things on the agenda. I'm glad to see that you guys are going to discuss offers for the purchase of 75 Barker. I really hope you're revising the listing to keep that parking owned by the township for municipal parking. As a member of the DDA, we discussed and talking to other business owners here, I'm a local business owner, we really need public parking for this town to grow. So I think that's really important to keep that part public. My second comment tonight is regarding the marijuana ordinances. Why, again, is it pushed to almost the end of the meeting? This is sort of like just another slap in the face as far as this is a very hot topic here. A lot of people care about it. And again, the board has, or whoever creates the agenda, has again pushed it to the end, which I really don't understand. Anyway, thank you for comments and all your ears and your service.
Okay, thank you.
Hi there. Scott Chisholm. I am the president of the Horseshoe Lake Corporation, the Homeowners Association in Horseshoe Lake, and I'm here about the Horseshoe Lake ordinance, the resolution. I talked earlier with Marlene Chalkley about what the public use means. That I understand Faith's concern, and I agree with it. I think everyone in Horseshoe Lake is concerned about the Horseshoe Lake somehow becoming open to the public at some point, and that's something that we don't want to have happen to all the residents of Horseshoe Lake. And I too am wondering about the possibility of putting a deed restriction on all those, on the deeds of all those properties, just saying that that can't be used for anything other than what it says in here, which is soaking up water and filtering water and that sort of thing, and not as a public park of some sort. I was wondering if there might be a way to add something that says something like, let's see, to add another little section of the resolution saying something along the lines of, be it further resolved that the land in the Horseshoe Lake Wetland Preserve is to be used only as wetland in perpetuity, and that no attempt be made to gain general public access to Horseshoe Lake itself using this land. Something like that wording. I mean, I can give you that wording again sometime later if you want, if you care. But that or deed restrictions would be fantastic. So that's all I had to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else?
Hello.
Hello.
Happy holidays. Dave Gordon, Helena Road. 3 minutes is simply not enough to make comments and ask questions regarding the issues facing this community right now. That's why I asked the board to hold Q&A sessions, although nothing's happened with that and it's not even on the agenda. I believe the board must do a better job of connecting to the public. Chatting on Facebook isn't enough, and as a result of your poor outreach, I believe you've drifted way off course. How else can you explain how our precious waterfront park property, which residents said they wanted as a park only, has morphed into a housing project? A park becomes a housing project? I think you better ask the residents if that's okay with them. This is too big a deal to move forward with without lots more community buy-in. Send out a mailing, a survey, anything that reaches out, and then listen to what they have to say. The supervisor in April suggested an architect help design a beachfront park. That was 9 months ago, and still no architect. No design except what the developer gives us. They're dictating to us? What happened to the synthesis plan? Is it in the trash? You're planning on selling off 80% of our park for developers' housing. Why? What's the rush? What's the wonderful benefit of that? Trustee Chick says we can't afford to have it off the tax rolls. Really? It's been off the tax rolls for more than 4 years. So what? No biggie. Nobody's dead. The supervisor's report also shows that this board really has no clear vision for the township. No clear goals, no identified priorities, except, of course, spending millions on sewer expansion. And I urge you to ask the sewer customers if they want a 20-year debt, a 42% tax hike in their bills. Please put the brakes on. There's been a big shift since the November 5 ballot. Businesses are interested in locating downtown. Real estate prices are spiking, so I would suggest that it's time to sit back and review your options, see what happens. The decisions about the park, the only open land on the lake, will impact us for generations. Please take your time and get more community buy-in. And $8 million for sewer expansion, this was never one of your campaign promises. and you have no evidence that it will help revive downtown at all. It's irresponsible, disrespectful, and I believe dangerous to make these decisions without informing everyone. We've got to pay for it and live with it. Maybe you don't trust the residents. Maybe you think you know what's best for us, like we're children. We are not children, and you are not our parents. Thank you for your time and consideration, and please end this meeting before every bar and restaurant closes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. This is Dan Heimler with UTEC. We're out of Ann Arbor. Excuse me.
Can you spell your name, sir?
Yeah, that's Dan, D-A-N, Heimler, H-E-I-M-L-E-R.
Okay, thank you.
We responded to a bid for copiers, and we just had a few things that we wanted to give to you guys. I know you have it on the agenda for tonight. I believe it's to renew what you currently have. Some of the things I want to just let you guys know. Renewing is giving your township old technology. And I know that you guys are the stewards of the money for the township and the residents. So we wanted to make a few points. The lease that you've had, you've already paid for the equipment, and your current vendor, I believe, has proposed to just release it to you. Normally on a lease, when you pay that money, you've paid a good sum of that, and now you're going to pay the same amount for the same technology for another lease term. We generally go against that. You want to start with new technology. I know that there is residents' information, security, clients' information that you want to keep secure. New technology does that. If you're going to look at this cost that you're going to have with copiers, look at starting a new term with a new lease. They're going to have new technology. You'll start with lower costs. You guys have lower volume in all the departments we looked at. You can go for a longer term to start with. You don't have to do these short terms because you guys are paying top dollar and returning good equipment. You can go for a longer term. I think there was a question of going over a term of people that are being voted in and leaving somebody with other copiers. The cost is with the residents and the money that they're spending. So keeping low costs and good equipment in here is going to benefit both the people using it and the residents. So usage drives what you guys use. There's nothing that we saw in our analysis that would show that you have to go on such a short term. So looking at what I saw as being approval of renewing the lease, you guys are going down the road of old technology. You're going to pay. You've already paid for that equipment. I would recommend starting a new contract. And with us, we're UTEC, and I think we're the only ones here giving you this knowledge. So I hope to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, James Trunco, 9255 Lakewood Drive. So it's my understanding that there may be a few board members that are still sort of balking at bringing cannabis businesses into town, and I simply do not understand it because there's been 2 votes now, both in favor. So y'all say that you represent the people, so please do so. That's it, really. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Marissa Christian, 32 Strum Drive. You'll have to excuse my voice tonight. The first thing I wanted to bring up was the packet. Actually, at the last board meeting, Mr. Ains, I meant to tell you that I appreciated the progress that was made concerning the packet. There was page numbers. I still would like to see something on the digital scale. I mean, I don't have the resources at my fingertips to print a 260-page packet, so I look at it online. So when you do manual page numbers, they don't necessarily align with the digital page number. It is rather easy in Adobe to add page numbers digitally so that someone viewing it on their cell phone or on their computer can navigate between sections. And I would be happy to send a link to you or your office with some instructional materials on how to do that. I think that it's kind of a simple thing. And I meant to actually say that I was happy with the progress last time and forgot. And this time it seems like we regressed, and I know that you had left a letter saying that you were busy, but I feel like transparency in our government should be one of your #1 priorities. And when I have to sift through 260 unmarked pages, it's to find any information. It seems more like intentional hiding of information as opposed to making it transparent. So I think that's the opposite of what we want to do. The only other thing I want to comment this afternoon is on the agenda. It seems like last time it was, the feedback was very clear from both the constituents and from the colleagues at the board that should always be given priority, being it is an issue that brings many people to the meetings and an issue that a lot of people have an interest in. I don't know if it was intentional, but it sure seems intentional, and it seems either disrespectful or incompetent. I'm not sure which, maybe both. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Good evening.
Sorry I was late. Craig Warburton, 450 West Joy Road. I picked up the agenda on the way in, and there doesn't seem to be a spot on there where you approve the agenda. So this one must be cast in granite. I was chagrined when this came in the mail. It's entitled Township Talk. It came with my rather large tax bill. And as I read things, I couldn't help but notice that under the supervisor's note, Madam Chuckley has taken advantage of township resources to advance her own political agenda one more time. When there's an opportunity to provide some degree of consolation, unification, coming together of minds, as you sort of hint at the last line there, you seem to be intent on driving another nail between this board and the people and maintain that you lost. It's done. The adult thing to do is forget about it and go on with life. Not point out that as a result the board approved not unanimously, but with the best interest of the entire community at heart. You don't think the electors have had the best interest of the community at heart. I have on multiple occasions stood here, I have submitted requests in writing to this board to do something with the group I endearingly call the Reefer 3 that seem to want to take advantage of township resources for their own political agenda. That got no response whatsoever, except for an invitation to come have it explained to me why I was wrong. When I was asking for discipline, you guys have violated some really serious lines in the sand. There are a lot of residents that are quite upset about this. You seem to only favor your own political side. I verbally asked that my FOIA requests be answered and pointed out that Madam Supervisor had read the items that were the source of withholding my FOIA requests. And later in that same meeting, it was approved by trustee vote to remove them from attorney-client privilege, and yet nothing has happened. I came to Whitmore Lake because it's a really cool little town. I never imagined that I would find myself dealing with a government that wants to treat me like the enemy at every time I open my mouth. It's embarrassing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, seeing no one, we will move on. Yes, we are missing the approve the agenda. We'll do that after the consent agenda. Board member response to call to the public. Ms. Zell.
So I would like to say the agenda as a whole, I do have some concerns about. First, again, the marijuana. I did raise that up when I saw the preliminary agenda that there is nothing else on this ballot that there was a vote by the people in November. And I think that needs to be taken into account when we put items on the agenda. The other item is, actually I know 75 Barker's on the agenda. However, we actually made a motion at the last meeting that it would not come back to the agenda until January. But it's on the agenda. Just for some of the people on North Village, we didn't receive the material until last night on the sale purchases. Again, I don't think that's transparent to the people, so they're not seeing what has come, nor is a board member to read through it all, nor is our attorney to look at it. Is, something of that magnitude needs to be given more consideration and more time, not just here it is, review it, and make a vote. The other thing at this time, I'm going to actually make a motion because it was not put on the agenda as requested to have a questioning and answering meeting. So I would like to make a motion that we have a question and answering meeting on Tuesday, January 14th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., which would be before our board meeting.
I'll support. Okay. We have a motion by Ms. Zelnok and support by Ms. Chick to put a Q&A on our January 14th meeting. What time? 6 to 7?
Yep, so it'd be I don't want to necessarily call it a special meeting, I just want to call it a meeting, but if we technically have to call it, I'd like to have a question and answering meeting on Tuesday, January 14th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And at that meeting, maybe we can discuss if this is good time, do you want it before, what would work for the public, and what kind of format would work.
Okay. Any discussion on this item? Ms. Chick?
I don't really have discussion. I just wanted to respond to Mr. Gordon's comment that you weren't at the last meeting, but we did talk about it at that time, that we have been talking about doing either a town hall type meeting or a question and answer type meeting since we became a board, and we haven't done it yet. And I apologize because I know that we wanted to do this and just haven't. So I'm glad that we've made a motion to go ahead and start that. Thank you.
I'd like to have it quarterly. We decided not to muddy up our meeting schedule, because we don't know sometimes if we have to postpone for special meetings. So if we need a special meeting on January 14th, we'll have to be in here at 5 o'clock. Just saying. Okay. So, all right.
We already have a meeting scheduled from
First-
5 to 6.
No.
Personnel.
Oh, personnel. You're right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it can if we need a special meeting for some reason.
When did the personnel meeting get determined?
It was-
Where is that?
It was, yeah, the personnel committee is Miss Otto, Miss Manley, and me.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
we're going to call a question on the meeting for
Yes,
6
we
p.m.
are.
on the 14th?
Yes, we are. All in favor of that meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. We'll have it.
Okay, so I just have a few other comments.
Okay.
I just would like to speak to Horseshoe Lake as well. I do want to make sure, because the intent is to just preserve it for purpose for flooding, but we have to make sure the intent happens. And then, as the people said, that nothing propagates from that, because we just want to make sure that, but just be sure that that is our intent, is just to keep it so a floodplain and to protect the Horseshoe Lake area. But we have to make sure, again, the intent is carried out. I would like to look at, to see if we can't, Mr. Ains, index the agenda so that when we get to the agenda, there's a page and we can actually go to that, as opposed to going through 260 pages to find things. And then page numbers is always a good thing. And then other thing is, I do think this is a cool little town, or a cool town in general. I am glad that I'm a resident. I'm glad to see other people here. It's been here, I think, 25 years now, and I really like it. And it can always get better, and we can work together to make it better.
Okay.
So those are my comments. Thank you.
Ms. Otto?
Yeah, so I do want to address the Horseshoe Lake resolution. My major concern is that the Horseshoe Lake Association was not contacted in advance and told of this. And I did contact them in advance and let them know that it was going to be on the agenda. I think sometimes we just have to have common courtesy when we put these things on the agenda so that we're not blindsiding an association like this.
Ms. Manley? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to address Mr. Gordon with the survey. And I know Lenore and I have both, given our desire that we'd like to get a survey out there. So I'm hoping that maybe going into the new year, Lenore and I can work on that and get some kind of survey out to the public about the many issues that are going on. So not ignoring your request. Just we will work on it.
Okay, thank you. And, Ms. Bellinger, go ahead.
Regarding the Horseshoe Lake properties, have they been contacted? Did they want to buy those? Why do we have them? I mean, why that? So this is, it'd be nice if we could get them back to the property, to the Horseshoe Lake District, let them do what they need to do with it. I also want to comment that I want to thank the Road Commission. They've answered a few recent maintenance issues in the community that I'm aware of, so I wanted to give a shout out and thank them for their work. Thank them for doing what they've been doing.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll address the Horseshoe Lake issue. The reason it came up is because all of these properties had been listed as tax exempt because the township owned them for decades. A lot of them came from the state. They were passed over to us, or the township treasurer passed them to us. So we have a lot of properties. They're not worth much because they're all unbuildable. They're all wetland properties. So they keep getting foreclosed on. People buy them at a foreclosure sale thinking they can do something with it, and their .08 acre parcel or something, they find they can't get to it. We've got a drain going right through that area. So anyway, but we did not have officially established any defined public benefit or public purpose to the Horseshoe Lake parcels. So they were all put back on the tax rolls a year ago, and the township has been paying taxes on them. Just like Horseshoe Lake Corporation owns some, they pay taxes on them. Now, if the township owned them, after this, you wouldn't have to pay taxes on them, and the Horseshoe Lake Corporation may have a little more money. The intent is not to do anything with these parcels. The intent is to protect the groundwater recharge source, the wetlands there that actually supply the wells in that area, and to protect this wetland area, which helps moderate the floodplain. This does nothing at all. It doesn't take any property, and it doesn't give any property. It just makes sure that the township can get the tax exempt status for holding this property for the benefit of the Horseshoe Lake area. So, I understand you can be worried. I didn't run for office to screw people over, and I'm trying to make the best of what we have. And so this was one of it, and I had to go through our assessor, and we worked together on this resolution, and I did find that the Michigan Supreme Court did define public purpose. Now, public purpose can be to protect water. It can be it's for the public health, safety, and welfare. So there's a lot of different components to what can be for public purpose. So I did put that in my resolution, and I do state that it is to be kept in a natural state. So we're not anticipating doing anything. Now, we could put that in as a deed restriction on all of our parcels, or we can put this in as a resolution and say in perpetuity, and it's the pleasure of the board, really. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to protect your water and to protect your homes from flooding, and that's it. So much for that. Moving on. Anybody else have any comments? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the consent agenda, items 1 through 10, the township manager report, the minutes of November 26th, 2019, and to receive the fire department report, the police report, the wastewater treatment report, the community center report, code enforcement report, the financial and fund balance reports, and to accept the check disbursement report for paid bills, with the check date of 11/8/19 to 12/5/19 for a total of $485,468.15 from all funds in the Municipal Investment Fund account and to receive the correspondence.
Support.
A motion by Chalkley and support by Manley. Do we have any need to discuss any of these items at this time? Ms. Otto?
For the minutes,
Yes.
there is a motion that was on page 4 under section 9. The motion was to accept Paul Burton's letter of resignation with appreciation and regret, and it doesn't have who supported it.
No one did. Everyone did. Oops. No one and everyone. We can do it again. I don't think it's required.
Is it required to have support?
I'll support it.
I know you will, but
Okay, well, okay, that's the way they are, it is, so, any other changes, any other items noticed? Ms. Chick?
I wanted to pull the manager report, or we can talk about it later.
Oh, we can talk about it right now. if
Wait,
we've
can we
got-
go back to the minutes, Madam
Oh,
Chair, first?
more minutes? Okay, yes.
If we go to page 3, close to the top, it just said, Zelenak suggested that the Parks and Recs Committee approach Washtenaw County Parks to see if they are interested in purchasing all or part of the property. I think if we just stop to see if they are interested. I think you mentioned at the meeting about purchasing it. I don't recall doing that. It was just, you know, I would just think if we interested, and just leave that. Yeah, that was not, I think you might have brought that up. I think that would be good. My whole
Okay.
thought is we pay into the Parks and Recs for Washtenaw County. They might be interested in helping us build a park. So that's kind of, so
Okay,
that was it.
any other changes to the minutes? Okay, Ms. Chick, you have questions of Mr. Ains' report?
Yes, on the marijuana-related business contacts, the comment was, I have personally been contacted by several potential businesses interested in most aspects of the legalized marijuana businesses, including retail and grower opportunities. I've spent significant amount of time with calls, emails, and office visits concerning this. These contacts continue to increase and are consuming increasing amounts of my work time. I would like to suggest that all the phone calls be referred to Mr. Lippens or to Mary Bird or to Vidya. This is now a building and zoning issue, and they have the answers, they have the information, and I think it'd be a more effective use of your time to let them handle these questions.
If I could respond.
Yes, go ahead.
The majority of the board made it clear that you wanted all incoming calls that did not pertain to statutory duties of other board members go through me. So that's why all these have continued to be directed to me. And then I direct them to whoever else needs to be involved in it. But right now, a lot of it's asking about the status of the legislation, the status of the administrative regulations, what the dates and times and that type of thing are being. So in a sense, it's part of doing the business development and traction part of it. But yeah, I can refer more to them if you prefer
It's
that
just a
too.
suggestion to free up a little bit of your time. It seems like it's getting a little overwhelming. But, you know, even if I was suggesting to Jennifer, you know, take a message, say, I'll take your name, a phone number, and get the question or the message and say, well, I'll have that person contact you. And then she can kind of disseminate it to who it needs to go to so that you're not getting all of them.
Yeah, I can discuss that with them. A lot of the people I've given my cards to, they have the extension number, so they bypass all the other staff and come to me. But we can work through that.
I just have one more regarding the code enforcement and citizen complaint issues in regard to the staff, and I spend a great deal of effort in trying to resolve any problems to the extent the township can. I mean, what involvement are you in the code enforcement? At what point are they bringing issues to you that you have to be involved?
They bring them to me when the board specifically tells me to address certain citizen issues. It also occurs if I feel like it's not safe for the individual inspector to go by themselves, or they need a witness to verify or back up their position. But right now, we've suddenly had a decline in complaints with, I assume, with the weather conditions. So it's gotten a lot moderated since before.
Go ahead, Ms. Selma.
So Ms. Raines, it's not on your report. I was just wondering how the RFQs are going to find municipal legal counsel.
Well, at this point, Jennifer has assisted me in getting 6 samples of other RFQs from other communities on legal aspects, getting an attorney. She also pulled for me a list of community attorneys in Michigan, highlighted the ones that were within this area. And then I also pulled a list of, from Cranes, of successful women in law that I was going to go through their bios and see which ones of those might be applicable to municipal law. So we're trying to see that, and then we're getting input from other parties, who they've worked with, etc. For instance, Paul Lippens has given me the name of the attorneys that they have had success working on different zoning and planning cases and so forth.
Anything else, Ms. Selma?
No, that
No.
was it.
Ms. Bellinger?
I was understanding that Mr. Paul Burns was going to also assist with writing this request for proposal and actually assist to his extent possible with perhaps helping us locate an attorney.
We were going to involve him in the discussion. I wanted to get a draft based on his duties that were in his original job description here, or his contract, I guess you'd say. And then the input from these other situations, and then have Paul review those.
Ms. Chick?
So can we get a date when we can expect the RFQ to go out?
We already had a date
Yeah,
from our last meeting.
It was supposed to be immediately.
It was
right.
supposed to be immediately.
Yeah, so it's been 2 weeks. How close are we to getting something out?
I expect another week.
Thank you. Ms. Otto?
According to the last meeting minutes, I think that we were supposed to have something on the next board meeting to review, to have an attorney review. We were supposed to have the RFQ legal counsel sent out immediately and then have it reviewed by the next meeting. The other one that I wanted to ask, and this goes back to the minutes, did we get a summary of any outstanding, I know that we probably don't have any outstanding cases, but did we get a summary from you, from any outstanding?
I'm working on it, and so
Okay.
we'll have it, and whoever you hire, I'll be happy to sit down and meet with them and go over everything.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay.
Just like to pull the fire department report, please.
Yeah, go ahead and ask your questions so we can get these taken
So
care of.
I would just, of interest of, obviously for the community is pond hockey, which is mentioned in your report, Chief. So I would just like to see how the communication and how that's proceeding.
We had met once, and I have not heard anything back. Basically went over the same requirements as was agreed upon last year. And I checked with Jennifer, I think Thursday or Friday last week, and we still have not seen a civic event permit.
Okay. Okay, anything else?
Thank you.
Right. All right. All in favor of adopting the consent agenda as amended? Well, the minutes as amended.
I'll support.
Okay, well, you already did, so say,
Just a minute.
yeah, you're right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you, that's 6-0. All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the balance of the agenda as distributed.
Support.
Motion by Chalkley, support by Manley. Any discussion? Ms. Bellinger.
Item number 5, the discuss offers for purchase of 75 Barker. We did agree to move that considerations for offers of 75 Barker to the first meeting in January.
Does anyone else remember we're going to move it to January?
It's in the minutes that we just approved.
That we just approved?
It's a
Okay.
motion in the minutes.
Mr. Ains has a comment.
We brought it back for two reasons. One is the realtor indicated that he thought that we would be able to move it along quicker in order to do some sort of a notice where he gives a certain amount of notice. You have a bid date, you have the submittal. We've also talked to them about possibility of different ways of dealing with the parking and preserving that to the public, either through an easement. We did have, you had asked Mr. Lippens to look into the ability to split the lot in two, which he has provided that information to us. So what the intent was that you would be able to go out, request the different ones who had submitted bids to give their best final bid with complete information on what constitutes best, which means right now you've just got pricing, a number from a number of these firms that you'd be asking them to submit the background as to what their company is, what they intend to do with it, what they would intend to improve it, what contribution they could make to the community in other ways. And then the best would not be necessarily the highest, it'd be your decision as to how to proceed. So we wanted to see if the board was willing to do that or interested. And if so, when those came in, whether the full board would want to review those, appoint a committee, what you would want to have done. But the reason for the high interest in this is because of the potential value for the retail operation of marijuana-related business. And since you're intended, at least in your draft, dates for submittal begin on December 26th and ends on January 24th. We wanted you to be aware of that. If you wait till the next meeting, it'll be essentially halfway through that, and you may lose those parties and you even indicating an interest. But everything has to be open above board, or else you stand the danger of being called into question about whether you've given preference to somebody on this. So it's up to you how you want to proceed. We just wanted you to bring it back to your attention.
I thought when the building went up for sale, it went up for sale at a price as is. So I'm not sure why we continually discuss it. And again, the motion was that it would be brought back in January, and we all approved it.
Okay, does anyone want to pull that off the agenda now that we've heard everything about it?
I move to remove it from the agenda.
I'll support.
I had a question still.
Let's talk about it. So we have a motion by Bellinger, support by Zelnok to remove it from the agenda. And now we have questions.
No, I had a question before the motion, so.
Well,
About the property, yeah.
you can ask it.
Okay, so you said we got the information of whether we can split the lot or not?
I have the fixing.
Yeah, I don't have it.
I'm sorry. What I was referring to on the 4 parties that were expressing interest was the realtor recommended giving them all an opportunity to meet a deadline to give their best offer, which would be price and the information about their companies and what they intended to do. But we needed to come back to you and see if that procedure would be acceptable for you and what dates you wanted to set that for.
Didn't we have some outstanding items on it, though? We had an appraisal by the building itself,
Right,
and
which is in the
and the
packet,
ability to split it.
and the ability to split it. And we
We
have
don't-
that information.
The ability to split it?
Yes, we can split.
Is that in the
Where is
packet?
it?
Where is it? Is it in
It's
our
not
packet?
in the packet. It
No,
was-
well, that's what we
Wasn't it
asked.
emailed to everybody?
If you have it, we don't have it.
I don't know.
Is it in the packet?
No, it's not in the packet.
So, I mean, it gets very frustrating.
Right.
Our members
Especially
of the
when we
public-
asked for it
our
for
members-
tonight.
And it shouldn't be on the agenda if all the information isn't complete. It's not fair for the public, it's not fair to the board.
If I could comment respectively, you can tell us what to do, but sometimes things don't fall into line that way. Second is we need to alert you when you might lose an opportunity. And then that's your choice, which way you want to go with it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion to remove this from the agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, that passes 6-0.
So my next motion is that we remove items number 11 and number 12 after number 3, which would be moving the ordinance 1972 to amend the Charter 23 marijuana facilities, section 23-6, application requirements and issuance of township permit, review, revise procedures and permit application for the marijuana business permits.
Okay, a motion by Ms. Zelnok and support by Ms. Chick to move 11 and 12 up to after number 3. Any discussion? Ms. Bellinger.
We've been told that all these items on here that are ahead of the marijuana issue are time sensitive, and this is why they were brought. So, therefore, I'm not going to adjust the agenda.
Okay. Ms. Manley?
I think everything that we would move back should be quick issues. And again, we've stated, I mean, what if people thought, okay, well, this isn't gonna happen until 9 o'clock, so I'm gonna show up then. We've discussed about moving items before.
True. Okay, so we have the motion. I understand we're probably going to have some no votes. Roll call, please.
Chick? Yes. Manley? Yes. Otto?
Yes.
Zelenak?
Yes.
Bellinger?
No.
Chockley?
No. Okay. Okay, so I made a motion to approve the balance of the agenda. Now I'll make it as amended.
So is that after 3, 11, and 12?
Yeah, after 3, 11, and 12 goes there. And I do need to make a change in your agenda. Number 6, the resolution number is 617. And on number 10, the resolution number would be 616. We got a little off count when we were putting those together. Just so you can fix it. Okay? Okay, so the motion, did I have a second?
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Chockley, support by Manley. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No, thank you. All right, next item, I'd like to make a motion to approve the payment of open bills with the expected check run date of 12/11/19 for a total of $55,571.42 from all funds in the Municipal Investment Fund account.
I'll support.
Motion by Chockley, support by Otto. Do we have any discussion on these? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you, that passes 6-0. Okay. I'd like,
On number 2 then?
yep, we're on number 2.
I move to hire James Pierce as a paid on-call firefighter trainee for a starting pay rate of $10.50 per hour, contingent on successful passing a physical and background check.
I'll support.
Motion by Bellinger, support by Otto. Any discussion on this item? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you, that passes 6-0.
If I could, Madam Supervisor, just a real quick statement before I leave,
Go
unless
ahead.
anybody has anything for me. Back in September, the board approved the purchase of 2 police vehicles, Chevy Tahoes. Then GM went on strike. Our vehicles were supposed to have been made last week, and we were informed by the dealership that GM indeed would not be building those vehicles. So we looked around, and we were able to find 2 that were made and ready to be sold in Kentucky, I believe. It's just a little bit of a higher price, and the reason for the higher price is that some more of the work that we would have had to have been done is already going to be done. So it's a total of $2,200, but there's parts of the emergency lighting that we won't have to put on when we get it here. So while the board approved that, we're going to go ahead and purchase those 2 vehicles, and then it'll end up being about the same when it's all said and done. I just wanted everybody to be clear that it's a little bit different than what was approved.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you for that note.
Thank you.
And
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Okay. Okay, we've already voted on the firefighter, correct? Yes. Number 3, Mr. Ains, would you like to give an update on the sewer backup?
This was put on the agenda to report back to the public as well as the couple involved. The insurance company adjuster, not adjuster, the claims person, has indicated that the township was not in negligence, did not meet the criteria. There's 5 of them in state law, and going back, it's in city ordinance, or township ordinance, and prior policies. So there'll be no action to pursue that from the township.
Okay. Thank you. The next item is ordinance 1972 to amend chapter 23, marijuana facilities, section 23-6, application requirements for an issuance of township permit. So I will make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Chalkley, support by Otto. Any discussion on this item?
Why is this coming at this point in time? And can we just, briefly what it's about?
Mr. Burns wanted the application for new permit beefed up and more related to the state law. Did I get that right, Mr. Burns?
Yes, generally, but
Okay.
Amy, yeah, what was,
Yeah,
can
what
you
was
just give
different?
us a little bit more? Other than,
Clarifying the
sorry.
relationship.
I think I kind of missed the question.
Yeah.
I just wanted a little clarification why it's coming and what it's about.
Yeah.
Was it just to add the application process?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, what I was suggesting to Mr. Lippens was that I wanted to make sure that the criteria was tied to an ordinance. And so that they're woven together. I just thought it should be tighter, so that if there's a challenge to the criteria, it's part of the ordinance.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, any more discussion on that? All in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you, that passes 6-0.
Do you need, you don't need a roll call vote?
Yes, I do on an ordinance, thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Otto.
Yes.
Dellinger.
Guess not. Keep going.
Okay,
Zelenak.
Yes.
Chalkley.
yes.
Manley. Yes. Chick. Yes.
Thank you, that
Yes,
passes 5-0, 1 absent. Okay. Thanks for that reminder, Ms. Selma. Go ahead.
And does this go into effect 30 days following the publication? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
30 days or 15? 30?
I thought it was 30.
Okay,
That
well,
was 32.
I think you're right. Okay. Number 12. Okay, I will let Mr. Lippens discuss this, and I know there was a committee that met, so go ahead, Mr. Lippens.
Yeah, at the last meeting, there was some comments and questions from the board about the proposed application process. As we discussed, part of passing both the zoning amendments and the procedures or permit amendments to establish permits in the township required the development of an application and the establishment of a procedure for accepting applications. We heard questions, and the board made a motion to create a subcommittee. That committee met on the morning following the last board meeting to prepare this in time for the meeting today. And I think we were able to work through the questions. I think conceptually, the idea about how procedurally we would accept applications, whether we would do or how we would manage a merit-based process for evaluating it as part of the conditional use process for accepting citing and site approval. We worked through those questions and submitted the revisions that are in your packet today. I did prepare a memo that outlines each of the items in your packet, which include revisions to the notice of application procedures document. What this document will do is it'll be a handout. Anyone who's interested in applying for a marijuana application permit can refer to that document as what they have to do to get their application in. It includes the marijuana facility application, which there were minor revisions made to that per board comments, but that really remained very similar. And then the marijuana facility voluntary local development agreement, that document remained pretty much the same. What we did do is we went through in some detail the marijuana facility scoring evaluation, and initially the board felt when we talked about that over the summer that it was really, we were asking for too much detail. We were asking for detail on things that were already a part of the state's pre-approval process, but we didn't want to throw it out because there were some good ideas in there as well. So that document is significantly reduced and then would be completed as part of the conditional use evaluation, but we're asking for people to acknowledge that that scoring will take place as part of the form that they fill out for the voluntary local development agreement. So that's it. I really think we've got a good process in the sense that we have an application, we have a procedure that will be established. It aligns with the ordinances that the township created. We are using a window for applications, so we're avoiding any potential safety concerns with managing lines, which I think is really a benefit to the people who want to apply, as well as a benefit to the township. We really want everyone to have an opportunity to submit their application and to be considered as part of the process. And I would say, just for my feedback, I think it was a really good idea to work with a board committee on this. We did vet with staff. We had several meetings on it. Mr. Ains and I met with Mr. Burns to talk about it, and having the opportunity to work with a board committee also, I think really got everyone on the same page and got some of our questions answered. So I definitely thank the board for making the decision to do that, and then for you know, the dedication to meet on short notice to get it through. I felt like we made a lot of progress, so.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Chick, you have a question?
Yep, I just wanted to comment that the committee went through this for over 4 hours. We went through it line by line. We went through the criteria item by item. As Mr. Lippin said, we tried not to be redundant with those things that the state was requiring at their level, so that we weren't making this too lengthy. But we did consider things that were important to the township that we needed to know. And the consensus was very good. The cooperation was excellent between our committee members, Mr. Lippins and Mr. Ains, and I feel very comfortable in this document.
Okay. Ms. Otto?
Yeah, I did want to add that, that Marlene did supply a copy of her notes, and we incorporated that into our review as well.
I appreciated that. Thank you very much. Ms. Manley?
The MFVLDA, is that something that a lot of communities do? The voluntary form? Or where did that come from?
It's based on the Grand Rapids model, and that information was included in your packet as well.
Okay. So it's a common practice? Well,
You know, we're in a little bit of new area here, but it is a practice that's been, it's one approach to creating a merit-based system which is authorized by the state acts.
okay.
Okay. So I have a couple things. Yeah, and I'm concerned about that, the merit, the voluntary merit items. Would we have a regular pharmacy going in downtown do something like that? I mean, I'm concerned about them being singled out.
I would just comment that this is a regulated use. It has you know, rules, regulations that are attached to it, so we are not singling it out any more than the state is, or we are authorized to by the state in approving the facilities.
Have you?
And doing it as part of the conditional use process is consistent with land use law for evaluating uses that may have more impact than other permitted uses, which is the purpose of special land uses in the Zoning Enabling Act. So we've taken an additional step to make our review consistent with the best practices for planning, zoning, and land use administration and approval.
Okay. But we would never do that to another business, right? I mean, we wouldn't make a pharmacy or a hardware store or anything, jump through those kind of hoops.
Well, we would do it for another regulated use.
Okay,
And a pharmacy is a regulated use.
they are?
Yes, they are.
They got a lot of stuff in there, yeah. I don't know.
They're licensed
Yeah.
through
Okay,
Laura.
and then my other question is, well, on page 6 of the application, it talks about a facility plan as required by LARA. At the top, it's the 5th bullet. And that is required at the time of application. How are they going to know? I mean, how would they have that all figured out at the time of application? I mean, yeah, the facility and the security plan. I don't know.
It's required when they fill out the request for licenses at the state.
Okay. So they know where they're going to be, and they have built a building maybe even? What if they haven't built a building? I don't know. I'm just looking at this and wondering, are we making them do something too soon?
Paul, from my understanding, if there's somebody that wants to have a building, they have had to identify the building, they've had to identify that they have the land or have something in contract with the state, and they would have to have their plans, development plans and everything, wouldn't they, to do the state licensing?
Yeah.
That was my understanding.
Yeah, and we took out, we took out some requirements that were a part of, that are in the state requirements and that we had initially listed in the scoring matrix document, and then requested just documentation in here rather than doing an evaluation based on what was provided. So with a lot of the information, what we're doing is we're asking for comprehensive documentation with the application. The first thing we have to do is review the applications for completeness. And I would say this is something that may or may not be a determining factor in whether or not the application is complete. If someone has this information, they should submit it as part of the application. If there's information someone don't have, I would not discourage people from still applying. We have to review the information to determine completeness, and we will go back and request information if we feel like it's relevant to the application.
Okay. And then, can you describe how this, on the notice of application procedures, that one, under D, which shouldn't be D, so 8D, it says, note, site plan and conditional use applications and fees will be required upon a positive determination of complete marijuana facilities application and zoning compliance. Now, does a company get zoning compliance after they provide a site plan, or do they get a zoning compliance prior to that? I'm wondering about the timing on how all of this works.
They apply for zoning compliance with the application for the site plan. And initially, the zoning administrator issues a letter that says, based on your use and what you want to do, this is the procedure that's required for your approval. And then after they go through the process of doing site plan, conditional use approval, any building improvements, building inspections, building permits, certificate of occupants, then the zoning administrator does a final inspection, and they say, yep, you've done what you said you've done, and that's the zoning compliance. So the zoning compliance is a two-part process. One is, are you zoned right for your district? And then two, did you do everything required to get your certificate of occupancy and open?
Okay. I just thought it should be a little clearer that it's like phase one and not, the second part of the zoning compliance.
So what we're doing I'm sorry.
No, my experience is just that there's the zoning compliance. It says, yes, you can have a bakery there, and it can be set back this far, and you can have all of these chairs and who knows what. But anyway, it's a little more specific. That's my understanding, but maybe I'm wrong. So I'm just wondering, is this just phase one? Yes, you're in the right district and you can have a retail.
The application for zoning compliance, the first thing that happens is a letter, which is a review of the zoning for that proposed use.
Okay.
If it were a use that was permitted by right and there's no building happening, no site plan approvals required, they're like a fence permit. You could say, you provided me a survey that shows where your fence is, it complies with the zoning ordinance, this letter is your zoning compliance. It could be a one-step process. But usually for site developments, the first letter is, this is what's required of you based on the zoning, and then you have to go through the approval process, and then the final inspection by the zoning administrator determines zoning compliance. So what we're doing right at the beginning is we're asking for that zoning compliance application, so that the zoning administrator can issue a letter that says, based on your request, this is what's required for your approval. And what we're saying here in item 8D is, we know, since these are all going to be special land uses, that you're going to have to do a site plan and you're going to have to get special land use approval. So we want people to know right up front that the fee that you're paying for your marijuana facilities permit application and the fee that you're paying for your zoning compliance application is not all the fees that will be required. You're also going to have to file for site plan. But we decided not to collect that up front because if someone says they want to do something and they don't pass that zoning compliance, we don't want to collect their site plan application right off the bat.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions about this? Okay. Ms.
Can you
Selma?
just go through about the window, just a little bit overview? And just one, is my understanding we're really letting the zoning and the compliance and the site plan really drive the permits. And then in addition to that, we do have this voluntary, because again, we may have more people come in that than we have permits. So this is like a little extra that is permitted through the state to allow, so that, and then, it's always possible if we had really good candidates, we could bring it back to the board and see what they would like to do if we had 4 instead of 3.
Yep.
So, but that's my understanding, is we're letting the zoning and the site plan and the planning commission process drive it. And then we do have the extra that is allowed by the state to maybe if there's more applicants, we may have to choose. So
Yeah,
that may be.
And we're doing that as part of our conditional use review through, so it's tied to our conditional use standards. So there's 2 things. You asked about the window, right?
Just to,
The
for
reason
people to
why
understand
we're
it.
establishing a window for applications is because, we know that there can be a rush, long lines forming, and that can be an attractive nuisance or a public health risk. We don't want that to happen, both for people who want to start businesses here, as well as for our, township police and fire staff and our administrators. So we're establishing a window so that people can come in, they can drop their application at any time during these 30 days, and then at the end, we're going to do a public meeting where we're going to go through all the applications received, and we're going to assign them a random order for processing. All we're doing here is establishing an order for reviewing the applications. We don't know if we're going to get 5 or 50, but we have to have a process that's fair for just establishing that order, and that's safe. And waiting in line could, especially in the wintertime, could be a safety hazard. We don't want that. But once we establish that order, we're just going to go through and we're going to review the applications as we would any applications we received. And we're going to work with applicants to get them processed efficiently. Now, once the applications are deemed complete, we will ask, in the order that we've approved them, applicants if they want to move forward and file an application for site plan and conditional use. And that's when we'll start the process of reviewing the site plans, reviewing the conditional uses, and getting planning commission and board approval. And during that time, we anticipate that the businesses that are most prepared, that are have been pre-vetted by the state, will move through that process quicker. But we don't even know how many people are going to apply yet. So I would still, encourage everyone who's interested in applying to apply and provide us with the information they have as part of that initial application. And I would say if you're not in that initial application window, we don't know if all the permits are even going to be used up. So, we're going to move forward with it as we would any legal land use, process the applications and approve them and help people get their business cited.
Ms. Chick.
Just wanted to, the window for application submittal is December 26th, 2019 to January 24th, 2020. And then the public random drawing for application order will be on January 28th, 2020 at 6 p.m. prior to the township board meeting. Thank you.
At the Q&A time. No, that's the next one here. You're right. Okay, yep. All right. Are we ready to vote now?
I just have another one. So, Mr. Burns, have you looked at these documents?
Yes.
Okay, and you're,
Yes, I'm satisfied.
okay, great, thank you.
We'll do a roll call with this?
Sure.
Okay, so
We have to make a motion.
You didn't make a motion yet.
Who wants to make the motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the marijuana facility application procedures as presented, dated December 4th, 2019.
I'll support.
Okay. Would you like to add to that to authorize the township manager to make further revisions as needed for clarification? No? No? Okay. All right, so restate your motion and we'll vote on it.
Application procedures dated December 4th, 2019, as presented in our packet.
Okay. So,
The application and.
all right, motion by Chick and support by Otto. All right, roll call vote, please.
Otto,
Yes.
Bellinger,
no.
Zelenak,
Yes?
Shockley,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Chick,
Okay, thank you, that passes
I
5.
do have one follow-up. We
Sure.
had mentioned that we would enlist the services of McKenna the 26th and 27th. Are we still going to go forward in that of December?
And that was intended if we got just a 3-day window and we had a rush of people, we had to process sooner. I think it's more likely we'll need their assistance later towards the end of the period when you get people at the last minute come in, and then at the drawing when they are meeting before the board meeting.
So is that in the works, Mr. Lippens and Mr. Ains, about coordinating when we think we'll need extra help?
Oh, yeah, I don't anticipate we would have any problem with the revised window. You know, I do have staff that I've requested hold time on the 26th and 27th, but I concur with Mr. Ains that I don't think that you'll have the need for that. I suppose if you wind up having a lot of people here those days, you can just call us and we can change.
So we have a backup plan?
Yeah.
And I just want to let people know, obviously, there's a permit fee of $5,000 that's per permit, so that's going to go in a separate fund, and this is when we need any sort of extra help, or that's where the money is going to be drawn from to handle this, so it's should not impact other areas of the township as far as the cost at this point in time.
And I do plan to be in the office on the 26th, in the event they need help.
Okay.
Also, if I could mention, it'll be in the forms, it already is, but to apply this $5,000 will have to be a certified check or something equivalent. So we won't be taking personal checks or credit cards or that type of thing.
Ms. Chick?
And when can we have these applications online, or do they have to come into the office to pick them up?
They will be online as soon as I review it with Mr. Lippens.
I would like a date so people know when they can apply.
They should be online before the 26th.
Jennifer puts forms online in the various document centers. So I think it would depend on her schedule, but I mean, certainly the township has materials, you've authorized them. If you're making a priority, I think she could probably handle it fairly
I think they
quickly.
should be at least available a couple of weeks before the window date.
Well, that would have been this week.
That's right.
So I agree with Ms. Chick. We're approving it tonight. Goes up tomorrow?
It could.
I mean,
I need to talk to Jennifer about it, but I would think either tomorrow or the next day.
okay, so before Friday.
Yes, because she doesn't work Fridays normally, so I would expect it to be Thursday.
No later than Thursday.
Yes,
Is that a commitment?
that's a commitment.
Thank you.
So
Unless she
the
tells
public
me
should know
otherwise.
that they're available on Thursday.
Probably Thursday, at close of business, so no later than Friday morning. Okay.
Okay. All right, moving on. We are on number 4. We're receiving a status report on the evaluation of the development offers for the North Village. Well, go ahead.
First, before Paul mentioned that, as the board made reference, there were 2 proposals. We had asked that the developers put those into a format that had been approved by the board after recommendation from Mr. Burns. And those did come in, but one did not come in on time. And the other one, we were focused on other items on the agenda, did not get it in either. So you got both of those at the last minute. So I'll let Paul go from there.
Sure. I think we're very happy and thankful that both of the interested and approved developers who the board has approved their qualifications to work with spent the time and took the step to reformat their offers into the format and the conditions outlined by Mr. Burns, and you have both of those available to you now. I know that the Brower Group did submit that information in time for your packet, and it was provided by them in time to go in the packet. And I did hear from Livonia Builders that they were not going to be able to meet that deadline, and that they would need a couple extra days, and they did work and provided it according to the timeline that they gave me. So that information has been provided. I think that
From Livonia Builders?
It was an email, wasn't it?
So
Oh, it was separate email.
there was no information provided in the packet on these proposals. Is that correct, Mr. Ains?
Yes, that's what I just said beginning,
okay.
was that, well, the Brower one came in previously in the process of putting the packet together, did not get included. The other one from Livonia Builders came in on Monday, and we sent it out to you, I believe, the same day by email.
Yes.
So if you want to follow the process you've outlined and tabled it, that's your choice. We've just mentioned before, though, that there's 2 things going on. One is the Brower Group is proposing, among other things, apartment buildings where they want MSHDA funding, and if they don't get that, they won't go ahead with the project. And they've indicated that they need to know for sure whether to go ahead by January 15th or not. So that gives you one more meeting. We don't have that type of information, to my knowledge, from Livonia Builders, but I do anticipate that they're looking at 2 things. One is that they've had an application into you since, I believe it was May or June of this year. And they're probably scheduling their activities for this coming season. So I don't know how much notice they need as to whether to go ahead and proceed, but they're indicating that they did not want to go into more detailed information on their proposal unless they were being considered as the primary party you wanted to go ahead with.
Well,
Can we ask what the MSHDA funding is, so everybody understands what that is?
That is state subsidized housing. So they provide assistance with the mortgage and the rental rates and that type of thing, I believe.
right. They make a payment in lieu of taxes.
Yeah, there's a representative of the Bauer Group here. If you want to ask more detail, he's available.
Mr. Kornick is here. Does any board member have a question about MSHDA funds? Mr. Kornick? No? Okay. All right, I can tell that we're not going to make a decision on this thing. Tonight, the subcommittee, I think it would be really helpful if they got together and
Yes.
we, and, you know, a lot of us did do some scoring, but I think it would be really helpful to sit down and look at these side by side and evaluate the financials and the demographics and all of that.
Yeah, that was the problem with actually trying to do the scoring, is that the vision has actually changed. We pulled the park out, we pulled out the commercial properties, and that's part of the scoring. We didn't have financials, and scoring really, what's in the air really doesn't apply in total to what we wanted to look at, so.
Yeah, they're both very different, and the
Right.
Brower group wants to do the commercial also. I mean, so they
Right.
can do that, but the Livonia Builders doesn't do that sort of thing, so.
But the village subcommittee probably should have met before now, or at
Yes.
least very, very soon.
Yes, if we could meet next week.
Yeah, I would like to propose that we meet very soon, maybe the end of this week or next week.
Right.
So the only question I had is on the MISTA funds, is there a timeline, what was the timeline in which you had to submit?
January 15th.
We can have Mr. Cornett come up and
Yeah, that's why
address
I
that.
was
Come
looking
on,
at him.
come on up.
Because if there's deadlines.
So the apartment piece is really my expertise in the project.
Hold
Steve.
the microphone and turn it on. It's so the TV people can
Hear
can
you.
hear.
Can you hear me?
Try again.
Maybe one of them can,
There.
one of our audience can.
There you go. I think it's on.
I think it's on.
I think it's on.
Hello, check.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so the apartment piece is really my, Steve and I are partnering, but that's my focus. And MISTA, for the kind of financing that we're looking for on this project, takes financing twice a year, applications twice a year, February 15th and July 15th. So there's a fair amount of work and cost for us to make that application to MISTA. And that's why we backed up from February 15th to January 15th as a date. We really need direction from you as to whether or not we're the group you want to work with on the North Village. So it's not just a timing issue of having to wait 6 months to get that process going with MISTA, but they take these applications twice a year, and they're more lenient in the first application. So we know the metrics that we have to satisfy for MISTA to want to do the project. And the metrics get harder if we end up trying to go to the second July or August application. So for that reason, we very much, other than the fact we do want to get moving if it's possible, we know our deal works for MISTA if we get to apply by February 15th.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so I guess, do I need a motion to refer this to the subcommittee to meet?
I
All
have
right,
some
let's do it.
questions I'd like to ask.
Of who? Of
The
us?
board.
Of the board,
Yes.
absolutely, go ahead.
So, and that's one of the reasons why I felt it was important to include this item on the agenda, because we do have two applicants that are, working on sound business plans and have submitted serious offers. We've made an effort to include the scoring, but the scoring evaluation that we developed was a part of reviewing the initial RFPs that we talked about based on the synthesis plan. I do think that they're valid, but I think some guidance from the board on the purpose of the scoring might be valuable to have at this meeting, and then some feedback as to what you want from the committee with regards to a recommendation for selecting. I think if you want to move forward with one of these developers, I think both have expressed the need that they would like a decision soon, even if it's a no. And I think that's fair. You know, what you would like to hear from the committee, what you would like to get from the scoring, and then the last thing I would put out as a question is, would it be worth scheduling a special meeting to evaluate this? Your next meeting is January 14th. We could potentially look at doing it earlier in January, or even just separate from your regular meeting, because it's a big topic, and I know there were several residents talking about it today. So.
Ms. Bellinger?
Is it premature to make any kind of decisions at this point with the information that we do have and what the subcommittee has and can share? I mean, is it a situation where we could make decisions now, or are we kind of dragging our heels on something? I'm kind of just curious what the board thinks.
I would just like to sit down with the subcommittee and discuss it, and have the subcommittee make a decision on what they would like to see going forward. I would be fine with a special meeting prior to the 14th to go over it as well with the board. That's all I have.
Okay, January 7th. It's a Tuesday. Ms. Otto?
I would also like to spend more time on the financials. I think it's very important to look at the financials on this.
Right.
And I think since we just gotten the other, Livonia Builders, I want to make sure that we look at both.
Yeah, I agree. Ms. Selna?
So we provided, Mr. Burns provided a template. I do believe both of them made changes to it. So we need Mr. Burns to look at that, to see the changes that they made, and get his opinion on that. So I'd look at the subcommittee to engage Mr. Burns shortly before his departure. I'd look at the financials, you know, how much tax revenue is anticipated. You know, look at, you know, what price per acre is it coming, price per house. So certainly on the financials. And, you know, so from my perspective is, we've moved forward with the synthesis plan, different term, but the public actually said they wanted to keep it as a park. We've moved away from that, ignored them. Now we have a plan, but the plan doesn't match the two proposals don't match our plan, even. So as far as my comment on the Brower is, yep, they have mixed use, little park. Livonia Builder, no mixed use, but more of a park as has been kind of stipulated by the board as a minimum 5 acres. So I guess I'm not sure why they haven't at least met the synthesis plan at a minimum, either one of them. So that's just my comment. Look at the board, or you know, the committee to explore that. I'd still like the committee to contact Washtenaw County Parks and Rec to see, again, what they may be able to build for us as a park, because we do have a park and rec millage that our residents are currently paying. And I know they have done things in the township. Maybe they'd be interested in looking at this as an alternative as well.
Okay. Mr. Ains?
I also had another question for the board. You had me contact the appraiser, and he did a good, quick job, but not a formal appraisal because there wasn't sufficient time. The work that he did do was voluntary. He didn't charge the township anything for it. But do you want him to do a formal appraisal in time for your next meeting?
I would just like explanation of the information we received, because I don't
think a formal appraisal is needed.
But I just want, we have this document and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It'd be good to have a memo, an explanation of the terms. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out either, so.
So I think it might be good for the subcommittee, but I would think the subcommittee is going to have to, you know, understand that document of what it's trying to say, because I looked at it and said,
Mr. Ains explained it to me, but I don't think we need to go into that tonight if we're just going to
No,
refer
no.
this to the
No,
subcommittee.
that's why I said,
you need, you
Yeah.
have,
I really need to look at the financials, because I don't know what this means.
and you need to, you know,
Well,
you have
that's the appraisal stuff.
acronyms and stuff, and no titles, no headings, I don't know.
Okay.
So,
Can we schedule a meeting with the committee for maybe the end of this week or early next week?
Mr. Lippens, can you coordinate that? You don't have to do it right this minute, but by tomorrow morning, we should have some idea.
Yes, yeah, we talked about end of this week, early next week. You know, subject to everybody's availability. I think everyone wants to make it a priority, so.
Okay.
Is there anything on the agenda that we need to hurry through regarding, Mr. Burns, and he has an appointment in the morning, and needs
Yeah.
to depart by 9?
can we just go back, though? So, did we make a motion to have a special meeting on January 7th?
No.
No, we haven't yet. But
Do we
if you
need a
want
motion?
to- You want to?
No, not really, but.
I'll make a motion to have a special meeting on January 7th
I'll
with
support.
this one specific line item of North Village.
Okay.
Support.
Motion by Otto, support by Chick, to have a special meeting for this item on January 7th. Any more discussion? All
I
in
would
favor?
like to have a long vacation.
Well, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
That'd be
No.
me.
Okay, so we
7,
have
right?
Five.
At 7.
5 to 1,
5
7.
to 2, 4 to 2.
4, oh, who else? 4,
And so,
4 to 2.
going forward on that, that means the material is going to be available on, what, January 2nd to the board?
Well, it's just this one item.
I'm just, right? Just want to make sure, correct?
January 2nd?
It's gonna be kind of tough.
Yeah.
We'll do
And
what we
again,
do
I'm
best.
expecting complete information. I don't want what we have, the proposal come in and late, documents that aren't explained.
You know, if I could comment on the appraisal, if you don't get a formal appraisal, you don't get all the report. But the timing was such that to get you anything had to be a quick and, what I call a quick and dirty report. And it was free. You didn't pay for it. So usually the board likes free. So we did what we could in the time that we had. And I'll be happy to ask the appraiser if he could give me some further clarification on some of the terminology.
So again, we'll have material, complete material on January 2nd.
We'll do what we can. Every time I guarantee you something or you give a certain date, then something comes up and I don't meet it, then you're critical of that, so I'm not going to guarantee it. If it doesn't,
Yeah.
if we don't have it complete, I'll tell you and you can cancel the meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right, next.
I just have a quick comment.
Yeah.
I don't want to dispute, but we keep hearing back and forth about the people wanted the whole entire area park. The day that information was taken was the day the park opened. We had several visioning sessions since then, which created the synthesis plan and the downtown strategic action plan. And in those sessions, the public also wanted to see something going in on the park. So this isn't, yes, the people wanted a park. Well, the public did contribute to the synthesis plan and the downtown strategic action plan, which shows some development on that park. So I just want to make that clear. That's how we got those documents, and they're all part of the master plan.
All right, we're on number 6. I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 19617 to adopt the regular board meeting dates for the 2020 calendar year as written in the resolution.
Support.
Motion by Chalkley, support by Otto. Roll call. Any
Yeah,
discussion?
So, we're moving the March dates because of the election,
Yes.
both dates?
Well, so they're 2 weeks apart.
There's 5 Tuesdays in March, so it worked out that way.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah. A lot of times it's the end of the month that we get the extra week, but this time it'll be the first couple of the
So
month
we're meeting March 17th.
and the 31st.
So the election is the 3rd?
What-
The 10th, I guess.
The
The
10th,
10th.
okay, so,
And we'll need this room.
okay, any more discussion on this item?
So do you, Ms. Manley, do you think we need to move it because of the election?
Yes,
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
this room will be utilized
Yeah.
Okay.
by our AV com board. Or I wouldn't be able to come anyways.
Right, okay.
I guess I'm reluctant to move both meetings. Is there another way to work it out so we can just keep our meeting, as scheduled on the 24th? Is that correct?
That would just be 2 weeks in a row.
Right, 2 weeks in a row. It's
Hard to get
really
agendas
tough to
together.
get agendas. Yeah,
I think this is a reasonable resolution to the issue of the election
yeah.
occurring in the 10th.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Oppose?
Okay, so we have Ms.
So we
Zelnok
do need a roll
opposed.
call though.
Yes, let's do a roll call if we have anybody opposed.
Who did the motion support? Sorry.
Chogliato,
Thank you. All right, Chocolate,
yes.
Manley, yes. Otto,
Yes.
Zelenak,
No.
Chick, Bellinger.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the 2020 holidays as distributed in your packet.
Support.
Motion by Chockley, support by Bellinger. Any discussion on this one? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, that passes 6-0. Number 8. I would like to make a motion to approve, well, unless, Mr. Chick, would you like to do this since this is a planning commission item? I mean, if you don't, I'm happy to jump in, but. Well, you can, okay, good.
Here.
I would like to make a motion to approve the conditional use for National Fire at 6785
Moore Lake Road. I do, parcel number ID B02-20-300-026.
As recommended by the planning commission?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, with conditions,
I'll support.
okay. Okay, motion by Chick, support by Otto. Any discussion?
I have a couple. So if we go to page 3, and section B, section 36701, item 1.
Yep.
Can you just explain, or we recommend that the appropriate screening be listed on all sheets? So they're complying with that? And really, what does that mean?
That would be on the site plan. It has to be shown on the site
Oh,
plan.
okay, so that's all that's requesting, that it be shown on the site plan?
Mhm.
Okay, and then I think maybe something similar on page 4.
Yep.
For this fencing?
Where it's
Yes,
underlined?
For storage to be
Yes.
consistent on all sheets.
We recommend that type of fencing for storage be consistent on all sheets. So they're going to update their site plan to do these recommendations?
Yes.
Is that it? Okay, thank you.
And they probably already have,
Yes,
because
they probably already have.
they're
It's
probably
been
already
around for a while.
already built, so anyway. All right, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, 6-0.
What is it?
Well, okay, because Mr. Burns is going to have to leave very soon, we have this certificate of appreciation for you. I mean, it's something you can hang on your wall, or, I don't know, put coffee cups on it or something. So, anyway, In grateful recognition of your many years of service and support, we hereby present Paul E. Burns with a certificate of appreciation for your time and dedication to the Township of Northfield, Washtenaw County, Michigan, on this 10th day of December 2019. On behalf of the Northfield Township Board of Trustees and the residents of Northfield Township. So, anyway, we are going to miss you.
Yeah, well, obviously I've been doing this probably over 20 years, I don't know, maybe 25 years, but I do appreciate the opportunity to, it's been a privilege to represent Northfield Township, and I appreciate this plaque, and this day came a lot faster than I ever thought, and, but I'll still be around, and I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to be your attorney for so many years. Thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you for looking out for the township. Thank you.
That's for sure, Mr. Burns, faster than we ever thought.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, and I know in Treasury we've worked with you on items, and we have a few more items to work with the next one, but I appreciate all your support.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. Look at all the gray hair we gave him, you know?
I'm thankful for the ones that stayed in.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay.
I move
Number
to approve the
9.
lease renewal on copiers.
Okay. So, are you making the motion?
Yes,
Okay.
it's on the packet here to do so, so I'm doing so.
Okay. And make, you got to be more specific, I think. Oh, at the bottom, there's the motion. Oh, the first page of the memo.
I move to award the RFP for copiers, multifunctional devices at Township Office, Police Department, Community Center, and wastewater treatment plant to Applied Imaging for a period of 36 months, continuing with the RICO brand equipment, and to authorize the Township Manager to sign any necessary contracts and paperwork pending legal review.
Okay. I'll second that. Okay. I just want to mention that the company plans to replace our equipment, so we will be getting new copiers, even though the price is going down, so that's
So
what I
that was my
told.
question. Are these new copiers or rebuilt copiers?
Jennifer said they're new copiers, so,
With
My
new
question.
technology?
I don't know.
My question too, I mean, has there been any bids, any investigation of other companies that Jennifer may have done?
There were 4 companies that provided bids, and she put together this massive spreadsheet to
Okay,
figure them all out. She read them late into the night one time.
okay, well, I thank her for the work.
Yeah, getting ready for the
Okay.
packet. But so
I
this,
also appreciate the people coming into the board meeting
the,
tonight and offering
yeah.
their services. I do appreciate that as well.
yeah. So a year from UTech. Okay. Thank you for what? Okay. Pardon? She didn't include the spreadsheet, but anybody can look at it if they want in her office.
Would have been a nice thing to have in
Yeah,
there.
it would have been.
Very helpful.
It's complicated because they all did it differently. So, Mr. Ames, do you
Yeah,
have?
but I think we all work in business, so we can figure it out.
Or ask questions, or
Okay.
make it.
Mr. Ames, do you have a comment?
Well, first off, Jennifer spent an extensive amount of time with the different parties. We did get 4 different companies, as I recall, the bids came in. And she did spend a lot of effort doing a matrix. And I'd be happy to have her get it to you. But she thought in the time constraints of this meeting, it would get things very confused to try to explain the matrix to you. So I'll be happy to have her get those to you, and then if you have any questions, please contact her directly.
Okay. Thank you. Any more questions on this item? All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Thank you, that passes 6-0. Okay, the next item is the Horseshoe Lake Wetland Preserve, and we've talked about this quite a bit already. So I would like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 19616 to establish the Horseshoe Lake Wetland Preserve and exempt it from taxation as allowed by the General Property Tax Act 206 of 1893 as amended.
It should be added in here that there's some way to protect it from ever being developed with bridges and footpaths and.
Well, it does say in the 5th whereas to preserve it in a natural state.
I'd like to
Into
make
perpetuity,
some amendments though
Okay.
to
Okay, sure.
your resolution.
What do you got?
1,
Restri-
2, 3, 4. The
Yeah.
fourth whereas, no, the fifth whereas,
Okay.
after and,
Mhm.
it says and with the parcel listing attached.
Oh, okay.
And,
There's Exhibit 1. We could put it down there.
well, you can have it as Exhibit 1.
Exhibit, the attached map and parcel listing.
Yeah.
Exhibit 1 and 2.
Well, the listing, this should just be 1, even though it's 2 pages.
Okay, fine. That and the map. Two maps.
There is a map, but it didn't say,
Okay, don't need the map.
Doesn't show much.
it doesn't show much.
Which line
Okay.
were you talking about? The
Line,
fifth
I-
line?
Make sure I'm following you
It is
properly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth one
Whereas
down.
Northfield Township, it starts with Northfield Township?
Yeah.
Has
Has acquired additional wetland parcels throughout the property tax foreclosure process.
And you want to add what, where?
After the and,
Well, actually, you could put after process, if you're using Exhibit 1 as the map, use that as Exhibit 2.
Well, then we can't acquire any more parcels.
I didn't think we were.
Well, we could.
We haven't.
We could if, if they were given to us.
Or
Or we
sometimes they,
just,
You would just have to amend it
okay,
every time you buy new.
that's why I thought.
I mean, to me, without this, that means that that whole area, nobody knows which properties are which would be covered under this.
Well, we
That's why you have a
absolutely need this.
Yes, that's why
Yeah.
I'm asking to have it attached.
Okay,
Or
All right.
is there something?
And if you want that as an Exhibit 1
okay.
and make your map as Exhibit 2, that's fine.
All right, at least
Is
it shows
maybe-
the area where it's at.
Is this the right approach, or is there something that maybe we ought to get these back to Horseshoe Lake Corporation?
I don't know if Horseshoe Lake wants to pay us for 40 grand or more.
And I don't think they have the money for it.
We can't just give them
Huh?
away.
No, I didn't say give them away. You have to obviously do it for whatever their fair market value is.
40 grand.
No, it wasn't given to us. We had to
Bought
pay,
it.
we had to buy it. We
You
bought
have
them
to
in taxes.
Pay back taxes on it to buy
Yeah.
it.
We did, so I'm just trying to
And that's what we
keep
would
it.
do.
is that,
Well, we can put that in another section, and I would ask
Okay.
Paul for.
yeah, I
how
would
we
For a
like
do
language
that.
for that? Okay.
yes. Did
So-
Paul, has Paul looked at this?
Yeah, I was
Hang
just gonna
on.
ask, has Paul
Paul,
reviewed this?
Paul has seen, yeah, Paul has seen this. We can add another whereas and add a deed restriction?
That's,
Or is that difficult to do?
The deed restriction has to be recorded in the chain of title.
Right,
So
and
it's,
then, how much is that gonna cost us?
for every
you're
for
gonna have
every
to ask
property.
your next lawyer.
Yeah. Oh,
Probably a lot. I'm just kidding.
A lot more than the current one.
so why can't you
well-
just do into perpetuity?
Why can't we just add in
So,
perpetuity?
Mr. Burns,
In a natural state in perpetuity?
we actually have you for about 3 more minutes. Mr. Burns, so you've heard the residents of Horseshoe Lake and their concerns with the way that this resolution is written. What would be your recommendations to alleviate that concern, their concerns about making it public? Do you have a recommendation?
Well, the issue of building on township-owned lots
We can't.
is completely controlled by you,
Right.
right? So I talked to Marlene about this earlier in the week, and so the only issue is lots not owned by the township, right? And so, but you still control zoning, and you still control construction. And I think none of them are buildable, but I asked
Right.
Marlene.
No, they
Right.
are all residential platted, but they're zoned recreation conservation. So to build anything, you would need 10 acres, and they're all listed as no build. So I can't imagine it.
That's not the concern. It's not going to be this board, it's going to be different people 50 years from now.
But it's underwater. Okay,
So,
Secure the property itself,
okay.
and then regardless of who's on the board.
Can't touch it.
So I have a recommendation.
Okay.
in addition
This-
to that, and I guess I'm not so concerned about the building at this point, maybe 50 years, but obviously Horseshoe Lake and a resident here is, so I guess I should be. Is the use, the public use, because it says in valid public purpose, we're going to change that?
No, public purpose is a legal
It's
So
a
is
legal
there-
thing.
term.
Is there
So
any,
I'm going to recommend something,
okay,
and
Mr.
this
Burns?
is the third bullet from the bottom.
Okay.
Okay.
So where it says, whereas Northfield Township desires to protect and promote the public health and welfare,
Okay.
I would add of the properties as a wetland preserve as part of the public purpose
Are you getting all that, Mr. Burns?
No,
into
Well-
perpetuity.
Right, so this
that,
is a simple resolution of the board. It cannot bind future legislative actions of the board. So the only way you can permanently restrict property is, sometimes with deed restrictions, with a right of reverter, or you put it into a conservancy so that it's locked up forever and set aside. Simple resolutions that are not in the chain of title don't restrict the use. And you can't you can't by resolution say that this board can't legislate or future boards legislate into the future. You can't lock up the legislative power of this board. So this cannot result in a permanent restriction on these properties.
okay.
That's what
thank
we
you.
want to do.
But it helps with our tax status.
I think what it intended to do when Marlene started working on it was trying to get it off the tax roll.
Right.
Yeah,
So it does that. The rest of it is the legislative function of the board,
okay.
which cannot be, this board can't restrict future boards from their
The only
legislative function.
potential way is if you made a deed restriction in the chain of title.
Correct, it's got to be in the chain of title, or you convey it to another entity for.
How
for
much will
permit.
that cost us?
We should figure out the cost.
Well, we can get one sample one and fill in. I don't know.
Can
Well,
we wait on this
I-
and then find out?
Can we
That's what
combine all
December
those
31st.
lots and then do it?
Yeah, I mean, you could put a deed restriction on all of them.
About this though for 5 months.
Okay.
Why did we cancel our next
Yeah.
meeting?
The treasurer sells them to us in a batch, so we should.
Right,
be
they're
able to-
platted lots, so they're originally intended to be buildable lots, or they wouldn't have been platted.
Mhm.
Do you have any recommendations on what the goal here, the intention is?
I think that if you really want just this to be a wetland, I think you consider conveying them all into a conservancy. Like the townships around here, or we're
Can
talking
I-
about buying a property for open space, and you convey it for there permanently, and that's the end of it.
So, but that doesn't do that in this resolution.
No.
This is not a conveyance.
Okay.
No, it's just to get it off the tax rolls for next year, so we're not paying taxes on it. And I know it's a groundwater recharge area, you know, so there's not a lot of groundwater recharge areas in our township. It's also been identified when we did the Americana grant with Huron River Watershed Council as an important area for preservation. So,
I think part of my problem is that we did know about this for several months. And now we're at a crunch because we left it until the last minute.
Okay.
Because of taxes. And to me, we just got to do the right thing.
okay. Well,
We got to do it right the first time instead of always trying to Band-Aid things.
Do we have a motion anyway?
yeah.
Do we do have a motion?
If
I
we
made a motion.
approve this and it takes it off the tax rolls, then we can
Do
get
whatever we
into
want.
the conveyance of it, the
Mhm.
properties as for conservancy
Mhm.
in the new year.
Yeah, we can do that at any time. Yeah,
So, I mean, that can certainly be done.
right.
So there is a motion on the floor, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Chalkley and, I don't know, who was my
Is there
second?
no reason not to approve this?
Yeah, I'll second.
Does anybody have a reason not to
So-
approve this?
So my concern is we did not engage Horseshoe Lake on that.
We did not.
And that we should have talked to them and got their buy-in and had them look at the resolution and make sure. Because there is the concern and the intent, that there is an intent to do something other than to take it off the tax roll. So to me, we needed to talk with them and get their buy-in from their board, or at least have input onto this.
This
So
doesn't affect Horseshoe Lake.
It doesn't affect him at all. I mean, it's zero.
They certainly have
effect.
concerns.
Well, I know, but everybody's
it
going to
was
say
common courtesy.
government is, I mean, we got people thinking there's conspiracies going on all the time when there isn't,
Okay.
honestly. So I would like to say in a natural state in perpetuity. And, and then I would hope this
just said
board.
It doesn't hold water.
He said
It
that.
doesn't mean it.
He
Doesn't
said
Well, he
we
said we
can't
can't
use
do
the
it.
word
Well, it'll scare somebody away.
No.
Okay, in a natural state, okay. But we can do anything we want with these anyway.
Does that change that?
Oh, we're not gonna change it. 1, 2, 3,
Okay, we're gonna leave it
4,
as it
5.
is?
Yep.
Okay.
I thought I wrote a good one. A good resolution. Okay, and we will include the parcel list with it. So, anyway, we'll probably need a roll call vote here. So, roll call vote, please. Ms. Manley?
Zelenak,
No.
Chockley,
Yes.
Chick,
No.
Otto,
No.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Manley, yes.
That failed. All right, we get to pay taxes on these next year, another, well, that's really nice for our residents. I know, well, this is supposed to help with the flooding, so that it doesn't.
Okay.
All right, next item.
I move to approve Resolution 19-617, is that the correct number?
6, the property tax? Oh, my gosh. Yes, that's a,
Is it? Because the other ones you changed us, you changed,
Hands are freezing.
you changed the
Okay.
board meeting one to 17.
you're right. Oh, gosh, thank you. Thank you.
We still have until the 31st.
It must be the wrong resolution number then.
Which one is it?
It should be 618.
That's what you said.
Yeah, this one.
Which one, which
18?
number are we on
Number
now?
13.
Number 13.
And the, or resolution should be 618? I move to approve Resolution 19-618, establishing a Northfield Township policy for 2020 property tax poverty reductions.
Second.
Jennifer also second.
Any discussion on this item?
Marlene.
Chalkley. Okay, any discussion on this? We do this every year.
I need a roll call vote on this.
Roll call? Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Zelenak,
Yes.
Chockley,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Chick,
So I do have a question after is this comparable to other townships? Is the 15% above the poverty usually what other ones are doing?
I don't know.
Is that
Probably
enough?
based on the high
15%
taxes of
above
Washtenaw
is-
County.
Right, I mean, I wonder if it, you know,
50% above the poverty is not much.
Yeah.
yeah, 50%. That's what I mean. I think, can we look and say if
What does
it should
IPSI
be
do?
more? Potentially?
I mean, because if you're talking about poverty level, you have people that are on Medicaid that are 133 above,
Did we approve this?
percent above
We did.
poverty level. They're on Medicaid,
Right,
so.
right. I mean, so we approved it, right? When does it actually have to be done? Is that like mid-January?
Oh, no, yeah, but what is the point? You know, I mean, we have one person who comes in and gets a poverty exemption, one.
Or maybe that's because it's too low.
And,
Probably
no,
because
and
they
he's,
can't.
he's been getting it for years because he has no money.
Well, but I mean, so how do we go about just looking to make sure that it's adequate? I mean, we approved it, but is that something Mr. Ains can look at and just say, is it 15% enough?
We can look at other townships, I
Is it
guess.
enough, or should it, be
Now,
more,
How
I
many
guess?
different things would you like Mr. Ains to do? I mean, where is the priorities? I mean, you would complain about Ains not getting this and that done, well, and you continue to add these little, you can look this up yourself if you wish. Any board members can do these researches, can looking these things up, instead of piling on the manager repeatedly at every board meeting.
I guess I would like to have a list of what Mr. Ains is working on, and Ms. Bellinger.
I think if you look at your packet, you'll see the list.
I guess I want more for what I pay.
Can
I'll
we
be
also-
happy to provide the board a list.
Please. Thank you.
I move to accept the trustee liaison reports.
Oh, wait, we didn't vote on this yet.
No, we didn't
I
vote
thought
on
we
that.
did. Oh, we
We
didn't,
can- We
okay.
can
let's-
vote on it, just because.
Didn't we do a roll call?
I thought we
Yeah,
did.
no, no, that was on the other thing that
The poverty.
everybody wanted to
No, we
not-
did the poverty exemption roll call vote.
Didn't we?
Did we didn't do a roll call.
Ms. Manley, didn't we do a roll call
No.
vote?
Can you help us out over here?
Yeah, you did. We all voted yes.
No, it was on the Horseshoe Lake thing that we did.
No, we just did another vote.
No, Ms. Manley just called a roll call
Lisa?
vote on the
Can
poverty.
you help us out, Lisa?
No.
Yes, she did.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yes, she did.
Thank you. It's only 9 o'clock.
Then I said I just have a comment. I should have
Okay.
made it before at the motion,
What
but we
was-
voted.
We all voted yes.
We all voted yes?
Yes.
Okay,
And I made my comment, messed it up.
yeah, you did, okay.
Okay.
I made it after the vote, not before the vote.
I would like the supervisor's report pulled before we,
Okay, can we approve the trustee liaison reports minus the supervisor's report?
yeah?
Yeah, sure. Motion by Bellinger, support by Chick. All in favor of accepting the other reports? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay. What do you got?
So the one, it was on the land preservation.
Okay. Yep.
I would like to request that on the January 14th meeting, that the resolution for the $2,000 is brought back to the board and corrected.
Okay, what do you want to do? Can you write a memo?
Because it's never been, we have never issued the check, because we cannot issue it to the Greenbelt program.
Oh, well, we can issue it to the city.
No, that's not what the resolution read. So we have to correct the resolution
Oh, okay.
to issue it to the city of Ann Arbor.
Have they asked for the check yet? Do you know what's going on, Mr. Ains?
I don't think they've asked for it,
Yeah,
but I do know that the
Okay.
money has been paid to the property owner already.
oh, okay. That's interesting. Okay, so we can correct the resolution.
So somewhere, we should have at least, if we, as a township, agreed to this, we should at least
Correct the resolution.
correct it.
Okay, thank you.
In
What el-
answer to your question, last I understood, Mr. Burns had not determined who to address the check to.
No.
But
Yeah, you got one.
I don't know where it stands now.
Okay. All right, anything else?
I've asked for it. No, they haven't asked for it, but the monies are already paid.
Okay.
I asked Mr.
Okay.
Burns, but he has told me who it should be issued
All right, anything else on my report? Ms. Chick?
I addressed this via email, but I really, this is a 3 or 4 page report, and our packets are already so long already. Most of our department or elected officials give reports on their departments. This reads more like the statutory duties, or the commission's, this reads more like, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. If we all turned that in, we would have pages and pages of things that we want to do, but it's really not related to our position. So I would prefer to see a supervisory report related to your statutory duties, and that's all. Like the item on here, Fix the Roads, is actually Mr. Ains's department.
And there's a committee
And the
on it.
land
Yep.
preservation is really Lenore's thing to report on. I get the downtown thing because you're on the DDA, but everything else kind of reads more like a platform as opposed to a report of what's happened since the last time we met.
Ms. Manley?
I mean, I get that it might not be her statutory duties, but if nobody else is reporting on it, at least it's giving us the information. And I personally don't mind it.
Ms. Bellinger?
My comments on this was I circled different things and I put dollar signs next to it.
Okay.
That's, and there is a good point, if nobody else is talking about it, maybe there could be some little paragraph on a particular subject of one kind or another. But my concern is not about finding ways to extract more money out of the taxpayers or find ways to expand our government and get ourselves into spending more money. The few things that I do believe that the township should be responsible for would be infrastructure and, of course, protecting the rights of the governed. And so this is where when I see ideas of how to spend, I become concerned.
Okay. Well, it's in the interest of transparency on my part. These are things I've been thinking of. The supervisor does have a role in leading, at least informing the board of items that we should be dealing with. And these are items that we have talked about. We have put off goal setting. And, so I just think the public ought to know what we've been thinking about and what progress we have made in the last 6 months. So that's why I put this out again. So, my First Amendment rights are I can put it whatever I want in my supervisor's report, and if somebody doesn't want to read it, don't read it. They're not usually this long. They're usually relatively short. So.
I mean, it's true. I mean, we all could do a
Then
Yeah.
I guess we all
could.
could probably put a synopsis of
You could.
summary together then.
Sure. And maybe we can get on the same page with something for once.
There's a few
And-
things we can all agree on, I'm sure.
Yeah. So anyway, that's why I made this whole list, and hopefully we can do some goal setting early in the next year so we can get something done. Anyway, I make a motion to receive my supervisor report.
Support.
Motion by Chalkley, support by Manley. All in favor, say aye.
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 Nay.
Any- You can go burn it then. Go burn it. Who else didn't want to accept it? All right.
The only announcement I have is Merry Christmas, and Parks and Rec is going to meet in January. I believe they'll be on the calendar at the Township. And have a wonderful, safe Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Okay. Thank you. That was an announcement, huh? Okay. Okay. Second call to the public. Unless anybody else has an announcement.
I have one.
More trees? Go ahead.
Yes, we own, the Kiwanis Christmas tree sales has only had 14 trees left. I'm hoping this is going to be my last weekend of selling trees. But I did want to let people know, every year the Kiwanis gives out one tree to somebody who is in need. So if there's somebody out in the public that needs a tree, please let me know. We give a stand, a tree, and lights. So please let me know.
Okay. Second call to the public. If anybody wants to come up and speak.
All right, is this on?
Yeah, no.
No? Is it on?
Now,
Okay.
yes, yes.
All right.
Name, address, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to read this real quick. Hello, my name is Jeff Massey. I live at 25060 Milford Road, South Lyon, which is in Lyon Township. My wife and I are pre-qualified for a Class A medical cultivation license, and we will be applying for the cultivation license in Northfield Township. We currently own a 10-acre farm in Lyon Township where our son Brandon, who's sitting over there, utilizes one of our barns to cultivate cannabis as a caregiver for his registered patients. We would like to invite you to take a tour of our facility in order to better understand what a cultivation facility is and what a good family business can be within this industry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
How do I contact you?
Yeah.
I can give you a card.
Okay, good.
We'll show cards. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay, cool. I can't believe you voted no. What is, you can reconsider. Can you reconsider tonight? You can make a motion to reconsider. So. December 7th? No.
Faith Wheeler,
We have to do it
371
by
Grove
the
Street,
31st.
Horseshoe Lake. And for once, it's not about Horseshoe Lake. This North Village, and the more I read and the more I heard, the redder my ears got tonight. Because initially, this was a millage put on our people, or asked by our people, for a park. This community, in the last 55 years that I've known it, has backed away or neglected or didn't have a future sight to see for property that we've had on this lake to give recreational activities to the families of this community. I think this is probably going to be the last one, unless we have a bomb somewhere and it opens up beach property. And I can understand, because Mrs. Check said that she got a lot of promotion from people that want to put all kinds of commercial activity on 80% of this property. I can't understand if you couldn't, after you got the property and we're paying taxes to pay it off, why in some way what I heard was, well, we need to do that because we need the money to build the park. Okay, now I don't know, I just heard that. I'm not conveying it as the truth, but that's what I heard. And my first thought was, why don't you go to the community and say, okay, we've got the property, you're paying for it. Who in the community, Kiwanis, whatever other, that we do things that we put together to put on a parade, to put on fireworks, and to do all kinds of things through the school, couldn't we approach our community to help you, help us have a park there? I do not want to see, and I'm going to be very truthful about it, I do not want to see low-income housing put up there. That, I think, is the last thing that Northfield Township, Whitmore Lake needs. You want low-income housing? Come to Horseshoe Lake. When I moved there, they had redlining. Okay, we don't need that anymore. We're pulling ourselves up out of the muck. And the last thing we need is to add something that in 20 years is going to carry us the other way. There's got to be some way that you folks can approve and approach through Washtenaw County, through people in this community, setting up through the school, whatever, to find a way to make all of that property a park for Northfield Township. That's all I gotta say. And if you can't, there's something wrong here somewhere.
Thank you.
Hi, David Gordon, Helena Road. It seems like the board is dead set on selling off the park to developers and not sending out a note to the residents to let them know about it. Trustee Chick, you said that the only time you got the 60+% was at the first trunk or treat when you announced that that's not so. Look at the plan that you have from the, I think it's called the park plan. And it says that there was 60+% at that time, and then there was a mailing to the entire community. And you had hundreds of people respond there, and it was again over 60%. So on more than two occasions of the larger outreach that you've done, you've had 60+%. Then it went into the small little groups who started with the premise that the voters won't approve a park. They won't pay for it. They won't do a millage. So we're going to have to sell off the land and make it revenue neutral. Well, the police department isn't revenue. I was at those visioning sessions. The concept of having it as a park was mentioned and then brushed aside, and all the rest of the time was spent on figuring out what are you willing to give away so that we don't have to pay any money for this. You've never gone to the voters and asked them if they're willing to pay to just have a park. You're going to go ahead and do this, and it's going to be gone. There's no other empty property on the park. And I don't know what the rush is. You've got a big change downtown. The price for the 75 Barker's gone from $275,000 to almost $500,000 in a month. What are the other impacts downtown? Maybe we're going to want more than 5 acres of open space in a band shell. You've had plenty of information from the residents that want just a park, and you're ignoring them. It's disrespectful. I was at both of those visioning sessions. They were the same group of 40 people that I see at all the meetings. The DDA people, Chamber of Commerce people, Planning Commission people, members of the board, and a few other folks. I like the manager's report, the supervisor's report, because it shows how little is actually getting done and how off base you guys are. And lastly, Ms. Bellinger, I'm always shocked when I hear you complaining about money, 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 because you're the one that voted to hire a $100,000 a year manager. You were the swing vote. You were also the swing vote to spend $200,000 for an unneeded infrastructure sewer basin. So you really shouldn't try to have it both ways, pretending you're in favor of fiscal responsibility and then voting for things that cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars and complaining about $75 memberships in organizations that are actually beneficial. So that's really hard to swallow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Marissa President, 32 Shrum Drive. The first thing I want to comment on is the agenda item number 3, which we spent about 2 minutes on, to receive the update on the sewer backup and claim. I met some new folks this weekend, and they told me that there was already a procedure in place for accepting sewer claims, and I did some research, and I found that that was in fact true. It's a part of the sewer ordinance codification that you do have the power already to disperse funds to these people and allow them to make a claim. There's actually a Michigan law, a set of codes, MCL 691, 1416 through 1419, a part of Public Act 222, that defines the township's liability. And I'm not certain whether or not the specifics of this, whether or not they fall into it, but I certainly think that it's worth looking into. I believe at the last meeting, it was asked whether or not a precedent would be set, and it seems as though we already have a policy in place for this, so it doesn't in any way, so far as I can tell. I'm not a lawyer. I do have some knowledge reading legal documents, but from what I can tell, it certainly deserves more consideration, then we don't think our insurance company will cover it. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the supervisor's report. I personally don't have a problem with you including in there what you intend to do. but I would like more to see what you are doing or what you have done. You know, saying what you are doing doesn't, or what you want to do doesn't really help us. I want to be 6 foot tall, but it isn't going to happen. I also think Supervisor Shockley, from one person to another, and from someone who has done extensive training for leaders and teaching them how to give and receive feedback, becoming defensive and claiming that it's your First Amendment right to put things in there instead of just saying, you know what, I hear your feedback, I'll consider it, or maybe you have some clarifying questions so that you can get the value in that, shows a level of professional maturity that currently is lacking on this board. So that's all I have for today. Thank you for your time and happy holidays to everybody. Thanks.
Anybody else?
Catherine Mayer, Sutton Road. This may seem very trivial in the big picture of things, and I withheld commenting when we were at these long meetings that went for hours and hours arguing about cannabis business regulations and criteria. But anyway, now that the vote has happened and that is said and done, and you're getting set to put the applications online tomorrow, I'm just wondering, why hasn't it come up? When are we going to take a vote? Do we want to spell marijuana with a J or an H? I vote J. Thank you. The state of Michigan since the most recent election, when we got our new governor and secretary of state and attorney general, and we voted in favor of recreational adult use marijuana usage, they uniformly updated the spelling to marijuana with a J on everything. The new revamped and newly created regulatory agencies from our state spell it with a J, the marijuana MMR, it's marijuana with a J. So like the people that are filling out their state applications, it's all spelled with a J, and I'm just wondering why our township wants to insist on using this antiquated spelling. Why don't we want it consistent with the way the majority does it, and I mean particularly the way the state of Michigan does it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Board member comments at this time. Anybody? Go ahead.
Did I hear you say we were paying a millage on the park? We're not paying, there's no millage on the park area? Is that what you said, or did I misunderstand? Okay. There will be a park area, there will be lakefront, there will be a park area. The rest of it, well, actually, when we were looking at the plans and the subcommittees here, the area that typically is used for the 4th of July, the biggest event that we have here, is still going to be preserved. Okay, well, I can only, from the last board that we were on, when we purchased the property, when we purchased it, the goal was at that time to partner with the developer so that we can get it back on the tax rolls, because right now it's costing us a lot of money not to have it on the tax rolls, and that way at least we recoup. We were hoping it would be at least revenue neutral, hopefully gain some revenue, but we're just trying to pay the township back.
Okay.
It's off the taxes right now.
Yeah. Okay, you can argue afterwards.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Oh, and I wanted to actually speak to that too. After I thought of it, after we did the vote, if we could have amended it to say that, okay, we'll pass this now, and then we could give a date when we'd actually put it into conservatives.
Would you like to reconsider so that we can do that?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'm.
You're going to put a date, if you put a date
Put
on
a date in, yeah.
If you
Okay.
just go whenever,
Okay.
I
Okay.
won't vote on it.
Okay. Can. You need to use the mic, ma'am. Okay. Well,
Okay.
We will look into
Okay.
doing that.
Putting it into a conservatory
Conservancy.
does not guarantee that at some point in the future, they can't do something different with the land.
All right.
I don't think that's true. Like if it went into Legacy Land Conservancy or something like that, it gets, or then, yeah, so we can look into it next year, but honestly,
Okay.
I'm so disappointed that the vote went the way it did, so, but you can make a motion to reconsider at this, since you were a no vote.
I will make a motion to, I need the resolution.
Okay.
Wait, actually I have it here.
Resolution.
Item number?
Item number 10, make a motion to approve Resolution 19-616 to establish the Horseshoe Lake Wetland Preserve and to put the Horseshoe Lake Wetland Preserve into I'm going to say it wrong, conservatory or conservancy
Conservancy.
within the
Conservancy.
next 30 days.
Okay, or at least find some, well, we got to get our attorney to look at it.
No. We
Yeah.
said, we already talked about it and said next year.
Yeah.
Look into it next year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I want to
30
date
days.
though. Yeah.
30 days is just not,
March 1st.
Okay, March 1st.
Okay.
Okay, we'll make attempt to do it, yeah.
March 17th?
Okay, March 17th?
March 17th.
Okay, March 17th. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, make a motion to approve Resolution 19-616 to establish the Horseshoe Lake Wetland Preserve and to put the wetland preserve into conservancy by March 17th of 2020.
Support.
See, I don't know if that's something we should do without legal.
We don't know if we could do it.
We should, I think we should stick with what we have, because legally, we don't know the ins and outs of that. That's why I asked specifically if Mr. Burns thought this was good, just as it is, because I didn't want to get us into like all these gray areas. With a new attorney, we can look into this conservancy thing.
We can pay our taxes for $2,000 or whatever it is, and then look and do it right.
Or we could not pay our taxes and still do it right.
Well, as it was, if it would have passed as it was, we wouldn't pay taxes for the
Right.
year, and we
Right.
already talked about having it looked into, being placed into conservation in this next year.
Yeah.
We did that, that was mentioned.
Yeah, he did mention that.
So I didn't know it was a 3-3 split evidently for this.
It was.
Okay.
So we need, so Ms. Chick has offered to
Did you want to make the
reconsider.
same motion? Because I won't approve something that actually has a conservancy thing on it. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't hear what you said.
I won't approve the amendment adding the conservancy issue because that wasn't approved by an attorney. What we did actually make our initial motion on was approved by the attorney.
Right, I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay.
And I did have one more thing. The state still spells marijuana with a H.
No, they don't.
They don't?
Yeah.
I just got on the website.
Oh.
They changed.
Thank God, okay.
They must have just
good.
changed it.
So, we have a motion.
Actually,
Okay,
they probably just changed it
Yeah, ours is
recently.
just-
Hang on here. We do have a motion on the floor, unless are you withdrawing the, oh, Ms. Chick.
I didn't hear. Make
member
the same
comments?
original motion if somebody wishes to.
Can we move?
All right, that'll probably cost us $4,000.
Okay, so anyway, where are we, Madam Supervisor?
We're on board member comments.
comments. Okay, we're at board member comments.
Are we discussing the spelling of marijuana? Is that the board member comment?
No.
So I got a spelling for it.
Go ahead.
I was going to mention that we did have visioning sessions for the North Village property, and I do know firsthand what did happen at these sessions, where there were sticky notes given to people. Certain peoples were accepting additional sticky notes and weighting the various subjects. This I saw firsthand. And another, that was at the visioning events that I attended, I saw this firsthand happening. So it was not fair in the sense of each person getting X number of colored dots to place on things that they thought that the park property or the 23 acres should be arranged as or dealt with. some people's were taking additional and weighting particular items that they feel everybody else should agree to. And regarding a $200,000 to do a study for the, if we need a basin, yes, I approve that, and I would approve it again, the $2,000 to do a study for the wastewater treatment basin. And I wish everybody a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year, and thank you for attending the board meetings.
Anybody else want to make a comment?
Merry Christmas.
Just Merry Christmas, everyone. And I just want to make one comment. I mean, I was kind of torn on the Horseshoe Lake thing, but we're saying that we didn't consult Horseshoe Lake and we're going by their bylaws. But when it came to the marijuana issue, we overrode the school bylaws and didn't consider them or take them into consideration. So it's like, are we kind of picking and choosing whose bylaws override everybody's? So just my personal comment. So Merry Christmas.
Good point.
Yeah.
Happy holidays. And I really think we should ask the people on the park. What's it going to hurt? We asked the people on the marijuana officially because we weren't listening. Well, we could do that. And so, I mean, I think it wouldn't hurt to ask them what they think and if they're willing to pay for anything. And again, we should reach out to the county to see if they're interested to helping us in that regards. Yeah, and as far as the sewer backup, and we were following the MCL, the Public Act, and our own ordinance. And you can talk to Mr. Ains further on that. That's who we're directing those questions. But so I just want to make that comment. That's it. Enjoy. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your health. Enjoy life.
I hope we can turn over a new leaf next year and appreciate that. Well, not that, but.
All right, we are indeed.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
You got that one
Anyway,
right.
so Merry Christmas, everybody, and hug somebody you love. Amen. Motion to adjourn.
Support.
That's a good one. Sure you didn't mean that.
As long as not seven late.
Hi. Okay. Well, Saturday could work. I'm available like Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. During the day, I'm usually not available much in the evening.